Hello, it is Chloe, and I'm here to tell you a little story. And we are in the swamps of sadness today because this is a story about a friend who seemed supportive when I first came out to him a couple months ago, but recent actions have told me that, well, maybe it's a different story. So, anyway, this friend of mine, we'll call him Bob. He's somebody I've known for a while. Went to high school together over 20 years ago, but I actually became better friends with him later on, you could say, sort of within the last 10 years. But anyway, the exact timeline isn't too important. Just know that in the post-pandemic era, he's probably the person I've hung around with the most and spent the most time with. Now, the thing is, the version of me that he really first got to know was the version of me that was still very deeply closeted. Or, I guess, more accurately, you could say I was in egg mode at the time, very, very strongly. And as part of my egg mode, you could say I overcompensated by being more conservative, more right-wing, there was more of an attempt to be masculine, things like that. It's a pretty common story in the trans experience, I think. But what happened was, at some point he made a comment that was transphobic. And I don't remember exactly what the comment was, but it was about 5 or 6 years ago. So it wasn't a big deal to me at the time because I didn't think of myself as trans yet. But this past year, when I was planning on coming out to him, as I was planning on coming out to anyone I was close to, it just stuck in my mind that he had said something transphobic so long ago. And so I put off coming out to him for almost a full year. And all that time I was still boy moding around him, just continuing to, I guess, in modern terms, you would call that perform the gender of a male while around him. And it was easy to fall into that habit just because, I had lived almost 4 complete decades of my life thinking of myself in those terms. But still, I had made it a New Year's resolution of mine this year to come out to anyone who was important to me. And that included this friend, who from henceforth I will be calling Bob. So, my friend Bob. I had already come out to 2 different people who were mutual friends of Bob and mine, and it worked out very well in both cases. But they were different people, and I knew that they would go well for different reasons. So it came time to come out to Bob in, I believe it was near the end of April. So here's the thing. My friend Bob, he owns a boat. And that's the reason I'm on a boat today, because it's thematically relevant. But anyway, my friend Bob owns a boat, and every summer I go down to his boat, hang out with him, go swimming, just chill. It's a great time. Or, well, it was until... Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself in this story here. But anyway, I had been on hormones. I had been on estrogen for about a year at that point, and I knew that I would not be able to hide my changing body around him. I could do it well enough with clothes on, like regular everyday clothes. I could still boy mode effectively. But if I was wearing swimwear, I mean, I'm at the point where I can't go tits out, for lack of better words. I am a B cup already and still growing, so it's beyond the point where I would be able to pass off my growing chest as just so-called man boobs. And the other thing is I really don't want to anyway. I don't want to go out there wearing man trunks. You know, I want to dress as my gender and wear a two-piece bathing suit. So I knew I had to come out to him before boat season, because the only other option was just not going down to his boat. And Bob would be like, "What the hell, why aren't you coming down this year? This is kind of weird, you're acting different." So I knew one way or another I was going to be cornered, and I had to come out to him before boating season began. So I picked a weekend in April, near the end of the month, where we were meeting up to do something else, and we went out, had a couple of drinks at the local spot here in town, and came back to my apartment, and we're chilling, and it was about time for him to go, but then I was like, well, I have to do it now. This is like the latest possible time I can drop this news. So I did it. I told him that I've come to the realization that I am a trans woman, and yeah, he was accepting. He was like, well, okay, that's cool. And his whole attitude has always been, you have to do what's right for yourself. You know, you have to be the person that you're meant to be. You know, you can't pretend to be somebody else. You have to be yourself. And it's sort of like generic movie advice, I could say, but it's correct generic movie advice. So it was excuse me, a very good philosophy that he had, and for the moment it seemed like he was cool with it. So fast forward a few weeks, and our entire friend group decided to rent a house up in the Poconos, the Pocono Mountains here in Pennsylvania, as sort of a 40th birthday party bash for the whole group. It was my other friend's 40th birthday, and the rest of us, it was our birthday year. So it was kind of a way to say, like, look at us, we all turned 40 together. And this was the first time I had been with my friend group all together, and every single one of them I was out to. And it was during this party that I revealed to them my new name of Chloe, and they asked me what my pronouns were now, and I told them it was she, her. I was very tolerant. I knew that there would be mistakes, you know, that they would use my dead name and my old pronouns by mistake from time to time, and I didn't hold that against them. It's a big thing to get used to. But everything went fine. They even toasted, we were drinking, and they toasted a glass to she, her, after I told them my pronouns, and that was a very special moment. And I even, like, wore a skirt the entire day. One of the days we were up there, I just did. It was a short skirt, too, and I just wore it, and nobody was like, why the hell are you wearing that? Anything like that. So everything went well. But the story starts to take a turn when I went down the shore to go on my friend's boat. Now, the first weekend I went down there, it was he and I and this girl who's not really his girlfriend, is kind of a situationship. I don't even want to get into that. It's kind of crazy, but anyway, super chill. But my friend Bob, the whole day, he kept calling me by my dead name and using he, him pronouns. Now, I knew that he told the girl about it, because she wasn't surprised when I showed up in a two-piece bathing suit, or with painted nails and all that stuff, because I did not want to hide anything. In fact, I painted my nails to match my new swimsuit, and I was really proud of that, and I even pointed it out to her, and I'm like, hey, look at this, and she's like, oh, that's cool. It was just very happy little thing. By coincidence, I also matched her water bottle. It was the exact shade of purple that my nails and my swimsuit were, so that was pretty funny. But, yeah, both of them continued to use he, him pronouns and use my dead name. So, I talked to my other friend after this, and I said, this is what happened. They were using the wrong name and pronouns, and at first he was like, yeah, Bob, he is kind of slow to change. Has a hard time adapting, and maybe just a friendly reminder will sort of get him to start using the correct name and pronouns around you. And I was like, okay, yeah, I will try that. So the next weekend, I went down to the boat again, and it was the same situation. It was Bob and his situationship and myself. So the three of us were all hanging out on his boat, and while he was setting up the floats and all that so we could float out there in the water, I turned to her and I said, oh, by the way, did I tell you my new name? And she was like, oh no, I didn't know. Which is kind of funny because Bob told her that I was trans, but he didn't pass on my new name, even though he had known about it for several weeks at that point, which is very strange. But anyway, when I told her my name was Chloe, she was like very cool about it. She even asked me like, oh, how did you come up with that name and all that kind of stuff. And, I told her that it was just a name I had thought of, and it was just the best name that seemed to fit the best. And but then Bob on the other side of the boat was like, I didn't hear his exact phrasing from where I was sitting, but he definitely was like, said something along the lines of, yeah, I'm not going to call you that dead name. Just like that. It was some very close variation of what that was, and he explicitly called me by my dead name. And this was right after I had gotten done telling his friend, the girl, about my new name of Chloe, and even talked about it with her about how I got the name and everything. And yet he flatly refused to acknowledge my new name or gender, and for the entire rest of the day it was only dead name and he him pronouns once again. And this time I can't write it off as being something that was a mistake or something that was just he forgot or whatever. No, this was very clearly a deliberate choice that he made. And, of course, because the girl, who is honestly a very lovely girl, I don't have anything against her, but, she kind of was complicated, but long story short, she basically just imitated what he did, so both of them were just calling me by my dead name and using he, him pronouns the whole day. And it just felt very shitty because, I understand it's a little bit awkward to see someone as a new person or as a new gender or whatever, but, think how I feel. nothing is about this is a bigger change for anyone than me. This is a big change of who I fundamentally understand myself to be. And any change that you are seeing as a person outside myself is much smaller than the change that I myself am experiencing by coming out. So, I actually was really bothered by this, unsurprisingly. And we got back to the dock, and we split for the night. But I took a little rinse-off shower in the showers there at the marina. Excuse me. Don't mean to blow my nose on the video, but honestly, I was cleaning my apartment today and I kicked up a lot of dust. I'm not making excuses. That's legitimately what happened. I'm not actually crying right now. But I actually did almost cry on the drive home. I felt really shit. I just felt shitty about myself. And the funny thing is, to make myself feel better while I was still there at the marina bathroom about ready to go home, I did my full makeup. I brought everything in the bag just in case I needed it. And even though no one would see it but myself, and I was about to drive home in the rain, I just put all my makeup on anyway, just so that I would look nice for myself. And it bothered me a lot at the time how he had acted, but that night, and especially today, because this was literally just yesterday this story happened, I started to feel even worse about it. To the point where I was seriously considering just not spending time with him anymore after that. I mean, after driving 2 hours each way to the shore to hang out with him and to have him just completely disregard my transition like nothing had happened was humiliating, and it just felt beyond disrespectful. It's like he wants to be friends with the performance that I was putting on before I had my egg crack moment, but I don't think he actually wants to be friends with Chloe. So I guess the whole moral of this story, the way that I see it, is that a lot of times, even when people seem safe to come out to, and you have a good initial coming out moment, that doesn't necessarily mean that they accept you. Bob was very polite and very kind when I came out to him at the end of April. And up at the mountain house, he was still pretty good. We were surrounded by all our mutual friends, who all of them were making a real effort to call me by Chloe and use the correct pronouns. And at the time, he seemed to be doing it too. But when we were back in more normal circumstances, which is just like hanging out, not around all of our mutual friends, he completely reverted back, not because he forgot or because he was struggling to do it right. It was just that he actively rejected it. So even when a friend is good, when you come out to them, that doesn't always mean that it's going to be good, that everything is good with that person. It's all the actions in times like that, when we weren't in front of our mutual friends, when there was no pressure on him to do or say the right thing. when he felt in control of his domain. We were on his boat after all. And that, I think, is the kind of situation where the most real version of a person comes out. When they're not constrained by the social pressures of other people, and it's just me and him, and and the girl too, but she's sort of like his little lackey, and we'll just follow along with whatever he does. So that really taught me what his true colors were. Now, here's the thing going forward. I was originally going to go with him next weekend to go see Banana Ball, the Savannah Bananas and all that, because that's always been something that I've wanted to do, to go to that, and I've always been very curious how that is. So I was looking forward to that a lot. But now I'm not so sure I even want to spend time with him if he's going to treat me that way. And here's the other thing. I realized that there is actually a trans support group that meets in a nearby city one Saturday a month. So this is my one chance to go. And if I don't go now, I will have to wait until July. So I'm thinking, why would I hang out with somebody who deliberately misgenders and dead names me when I could actually go out and meet other trans people who will understand the experience and might even understand, and will certainly understand, this very story that I'm saying right now. So, yeah, I think I've pretty much made up my mind. As much as I would like to go to Banana Ball, and still hope I do eventually, I am going to choose to spend my time going to this trans support group meetup. Maybe it will go well. Maybe it will be a complete dud. But we'll see. So, that's my story. I wonder if anyone out there has had similar experiences with a friend who seemed to be understanding at first, but then turned out to be something completely different. And, well, that's about it. I hope you, I don't know if enjoyed is the right word for this video, but I hope you got something out of it. And I hope to make other videos for you soon, talking about different aspects of my trans journey. I actually did try to record a couple other videos between the last one and now, but for whatever reason, they just weren't working out for me, so I never finished them. But I think this video, even though it's a bit rambly and I kind of wish I had told the story a little bit more tightly and precisely, I think this video will just go up as is. So I want to say thank you for watching, and, well, I'll see you again soon for more about this kind of stuff. Goodbye.